Strongly, but missed the ball. Push in the back, I would think, will go the way of Sierakowski for Western Australia, and immediately from the half-forward flank with a player running loose there on the half-forward flank. Featherby it is again, and he's the player. We've mentioned him all day, and he's cut that defence to shreds. Look at the kick from him. It's a strong one, right up to full forward. Robin goes for the spoil and taps it out, and a throw in the right full forward pocket. Western Australia attacking and leading by 2 goals in the opening seconds of the final term here at Subiaco. Throw in, and immediately in front of the pack is Fitzpatrick for Western Australia, and I reckon you've had a pretty even effort from your rucks today.
Yes, I noticed Buttons on the ground. I think they may have taken Greg off. I think they would have had to. He has not done enough. Hasn't done enough polish for a state player.
Taken here by Valley, lost by Valley, picked up by Von Berto. A good third quarter from that player. Away towards Colby. Colby's kick up towards the centre of the ground. Colby's played well too, but here it's marked by Hayes. Hayes pushes it wide to the half-forward flank in front of the member stand, and marked here by Watley. An honest effort from this player at centre wing in opposition to Bergen. They swap the wings too. There's the kick down to the full forward spot. Offhand, Sonny Morey, the back pocket player, attempts to Fox for the free kick. Taken here by Robrin. He goes for a run across the face of the goals. You can see the way he bounced the ball in. They're not used to the way the ball bounces here at Subiaco, and he may have kicked out on the full. Either this or it'll be marked by Western Australia anyway through Brio. Good game from this player. He kicked a tremendous goal in the second term with the breeze at his back from a similar position to this, but not as far out on this occasion. Look at it. It's gone right over the head of the pack, going in towards the goal. Great mark here, Western Australia. 5 metres out, and there should be no difficulty in converting this goal. And the player turning to us now is Fitzpatrick, and he's one of those even rucks I mentioned a moment ago, Dennis.
They put in an honest effort all day and have done it well, and that mark of Fitzpatrick was a real class mark. He was in bad position, running backwards, and took the ball very, very well.
Like Fitzpatrick, and he puts it right through the middle, and that's a goal that Western Australia needed. 9-9 to 6-9, and we've only had about 2 or 3 minutes of this last quarter.
The rain's coming down again, the breeze is picking up. I tell you what, they turn the weather on and off over here.
Yes, you would think so too. Just as the home side go into the last quarter, the breeze has strengthened. Just before three-quarter time, we were saying that it had dropped. So what you say, Dennis, could well be the case. Someone's taken the ball, I think,
At this stage, there's 3 goals the difference. Western Australia in front with a strong breeze at their back, and if Western Australians could get the Swan River on their home side at the moment, they'd put it on without any doubts or equivocations. They look home and hosed. That's the way I see it at the 3-minute mark of the final term. South Australia would have to put in an extraordinary performance to get out of this. Still no move at the pivot.
This is the big fault at the moment. We're being killed. Keddy's just not getting a touch for the South Australia in the centre.
He's getting kicks, Dennis, but even when he does get him, he's not using them correctly.
No, he's just not up to this class of play.
And now the new ball has been brought on. The old ball, which was kicked into the crowd, is now being removed from the ground, and I think we're going to get a new ball at about the 3-minute mark in the first quarter, so it won't make much difference.
And that's Barry Carbon. Anyway.
That's Barry Carbon, the reserve umpire. Here's the throw down. The ball comes to the ground. It's kicked off the ground here for Western Australia up towards Colby. Coming out for South Australia is Morey. Hesitated a little. The rebound goes the way of South, though. They kick up onto the wing. In there for South Australia is the new player on, that's Button. A handball further afield here to Keddy. A poor old kick by Keddy out towards half forward. Marker has the ball punched away from him. The rebound goes the way of Keddy. Could have been tackled too high, I think. No, holding the ball, the decision of Dennis Blair gets it for Western Australia at right half back. Blair now using the drop punt, driving it right down towards centre half forward. Sierakowski there for Western Australia. The ball goes behind the pack. Running onto it here is Kale. He's been a good player for South. He boots up into open territory. Heading back after it there is Watling for Western Australia. Corns coming in for South Australia. The ball eventually goes the way of Hayes. Hayes with a run of it. Comes back, or Senior it is, comes back nicely on the right foot and kicks to a player running into the clear. That's Featherby, but Featherby makes it hard for himself by missing an easy mark. South Australia join in. It's eventually pushed away by Featherby here towards Senior, and played pretty congested, and eventually I think South Australia will get the free kick. Now it's play on. Eventually it comes the way of Bergen. Bergen has to kick hurriedly. Corns in there, and I think he was grabbed by the foot.
Corns, to my mind, dropped out in the third term somewhat, Dennis, after a tremendous first half.
Yes, hasn't done as much since half-time, undoubtedly.
And Corns coming in, using the drop punt for South Australia, driving in towards centre half forward. Players launch themselves. It goes to the back towards Davies. He's forced a handball. In goes Malarkey for Western Australia. Boots the ball out into open territory. Heading for in the race for it out there is Graham. He has a chance to gather. Brio hot on the trail, but Graham burns him off nicely, boots the ball back in towards full forward. Big pack set themselves. The ball punched away, gathered by South Australia. Handballed out here now towards Wynn. Wynn drives up towards full forward. There's only one player at home, and that's Leon O'Dwyer, the fullback for the fullback pocket for Western Australia. O'Dwyer kicks in towards Bergen. Bergen now lining up the goals and driving it right in towards full forward. Dropping in there for South and pulling in a great mark.
Davies.
Here's Davies, and Davies has done pretty well in that forward pocket and in the ruck most of the day for South Australia, and he gets a chance here to score for them, and if he can get a goal, it might give his side the little bit of lift that they're looking for.
They need every lift that they can get at the moment as Davies lines this up. He's kicked one behind. There's his shot, and it's swinging away, as you can see on your Channel 9 screen.
Too many of these type of things. They've just not done that little bit of tight, good football that's required to win these type of games. They've missed goals of this type. They've not kicked the ball cleanly. You can't win unless you do this in interstate football.
Major goal kicker for South Australia is Terry Von Berto. Had a tremendous third term. He's kicked 3 goals, 1. For Western Australia, it's 2 to Cooper and 2 to Trude, their full forward. Malarkey to kick it in. Good job from him at full back. Goes straight down the ground towards the centre half back spot. From the back it was tapped down by Button, but Western Australia immediately swing it through Melrose into attack to centre half forward. Morey caught under the ball, tried to tap it down. He's got the ball running in front of him, grabs at Cable. Cable trying to play for that free kick. He'll get it in a minute. No, he used too much pace to come out of the pack. Well read, Bob Hammond. He saw that handball coming, shot away, kicked clear to the half-back line. However, it's Brio who will bring it back again, tackled by Bergen. Brio steadies himself, shoots it in low into the forward pocket. Taken here and kicked away by Darryl Cale towards centre half-back, looking for Terry Von Berto. Can't find him. It's gone to Western Australia ahead. Instead, handballed over and finds Watling. Watling steadies, kicks to centre half forward through the hands here of Melrose. Couldn't pull it down, and Von Berto's clearing kick towards the half-back line. Good mark.
This is a typical Watling mark. This player, he's not big, but he's got long arms, and he puts himself in beautiful position to take marks. So it's a typical Watling grab.
He's at half forward left for Western Australia, turning on the pressure now as they go in again to the full forward spot. Great mark from the back of the pack to Western Australia, and they're finishing full of running and with a wet sail here at the Subiaco ground.
Yes, Fitzpatrick pulled that one down beautifully, picked the right spot, jumped high, put the chest to it, and took a real strong big man mark.
Has kicked 1 goal, 1. 9-9 Western Australia leads South Australia 6-10. Blight's onto the ground for South Australia.
That was a long overdue. Bergen has been a carriage all day. To mine, this is the second time I've seen him over here play football in the last 2 years in state football, and to mine, both times he's been a complete carriage to South Australia. I can't understand them playing him.
Commentator at this stage, John Deathridge, former Claremont player.
Fitzpatrick missing that easy shot for Western Australia. And so Hammond gets another chance to kick the ball back into play, using the drop punt out towards the right half-back flank. Over there for them is Blythe. He gets a chance. He doubles into the clear, and I think he's going to get a free kick for a high tackle.
A Gary medalist last year in South Australian football.
I don't know how they left him out of the side on what I saw of him over here in the Carnival last year. South going forward again. Kenny gets a chance, but he's pulled off the kick here by Hayes. Hayes in all sorts of trouble. Doubles round to the clear. Steers a short one over towards Melrose. Melrose traps the ball now, and he goes across the centre, looking a short one upfield to Baynes. The rebound goes the way of Graham, and I think he's gathered without possession. Play on it is. Colby a handball over to Ebert. Ebert comes away from the half-back line for South Australia and drives up towards centre half forward. And up there on his own pretty well is Malarkey. Well down from full-back to pull in the mark. Gary Malarkey's first state game today. He's acquitted himself very well. He's a player of the future over here. A long kick. Trude with a chance running out in front of Hammond. And he takes the mark, and he's right on the edge of the diamond, which would put him about 55 metres, 55 to 60 metres out. Dennis Jones probably tell you that he'll kick this one.
Yeah, I reckon he could too. He's a good kick, this bloke. He's got that breeze behind him.
Has kicked 2 goals, 1.
Plenty of deliberation about his kicking. Drop punt. It's on its way. You'll have to wait on it. I think it's away to the left. It is 2 legs. And another behind to Peter Trude.
Had enough legs. Try to force it a little bit, and as usual, when you try to give it a couple of extra yards, you put it offline.
10-minute mark of the final term coming up here at the Subiaco ground. Western Australia 9-11, South Australia 6-10. 3-1 the difference in favour of the home side, and I noticed that some of the South Australian players are looking very, very weary at this stage. They look like a beaten side as Hammond brings it away from the square up towards the half-back line. Up goes Malcolm Blight. He's fresh and he's fit, and you can notice the difference with him. He took that mark well, streaked away from the other players, drives it at the half-forward line. Greenslade has knocked the ball on. He's pushing the ball in towards the goal, trying to get it down to that forward pocket. Sharkwell here by John Wynn. We've seen little of him today. A handball away. It's blocked by Blair. Blair with a handball back. Trying to run through there was Greenslade. Had the ball knocked away from him. Blair again. Blair's kick towards centre half back for Western Australia. Badly. They tackled Davies. Push him in the back. He hasn't got the ball, and as Keddy went goalwards, the free kick will go to Davies. Quite an honest effort from this player today. Kicks to the full forward spot and falls onto the chest of John Wynn, the player I just mentioned.
Just about do that, Wynn. Make it interesting too.
Yes, South Australia badly need a goal at this stage.
Yeah, what, Blight, the ball's come near him twice and he's got possession twice.
Bad shot
Should
from
have been
Wynn.
on the ground, I think.
Offhand, it's still in play. Western Australian Guernseys everywhere, and Malarkey, the fullback, streaks to the ball. Got in the one bounce, then clears. Up towards the half-back line, over the head of Blight. Taken here by Western Australia through Watt Valley. He gets it over to his teammate in Hayes. Hayes tackled.
Didn't try to get rid of the ball.
Von Berto plays it on very quickly, wide to the half-forward flank. Ball bouncing awkwardly for him. Didn't come back to him the way expected. Hooked it over in front of the goals. Western Australia all the way, and they'll relieve through. Number 19 is Serakowski.
And Brian Serakowski, the former St Kilda halfback. He's been playing in Western Australia for the last 3 or 4 seasons, playing for Subiaco in the ruck today for Western Australia. He drives the ball up to Watling. South Australia's Kale with a chance, but the rebounds go the way of Bygraves. He gets only about his 4th or 5th kick for the game. The rebound goes to the back of the pack. Charging back after it there was Trude. Hot on the trail was Hammond, and the ball's over the line and out of bounds.
The positiveness of the Western Australian attack was shown at them. South Australia fiddled around for about 5 minutes along this flank, and then they went bang, bang with 2 kicks and got it right straight down the ground on the right side of the ground too as well.
And here's the throw into play. Davies in there for South Australia. Fitzpatrick for West. It's hit out to the back of the pack. A chance for Valley. He shoots towards the goals, but he's offline, and Western Australia get another behind. And that's their 3rd behind for this quarter.
And the 2nd to Valley.
Valley's worked very hard all day. He's not done anything spectacular, but he's got his body in there at times and shoveled the ball around or claimed possession of it. It's his type of game, this player.
And players congregating out here on the right half-back for South Australia. Hammond kicks the ball out that way. A chance for Blight. He's the player they should have had on all the way, looking at him. He gets another beautiful mark and a handball to Colby. Good interception there by Western Australia. Gives Cable a chance. Cable kicking short here towards Hayes. Or Senior it was. Senior looking for a handball again to Melrose. Melrose further afield to Valley. Valley skirts around Ebert, who makes a valiant effort to stop him and lines up the goals, but it's offline, I'd say, and another behind to Western Australia.
Bit stiff Bill Valley there, did everything right, worked hard, but just couldn't quite get the goal through. A good effort, real good effort. South Australia made a very bad handball there. It was the sort of thing of an indecisive players do when they're not playing well. Everything seems to go wrong at that stage, and it is really going wrong at the moment.
How do they leave Blight out of the side? Just looking at him there.
I've got no idea.
Hammond brings it back in towards the half-back flank and in front of the pack, marked nicely for South Australia by Davies. Had a great final term. The handball on this occasion is bad. Colby overruns the ball. Western Australia playing very solidly, picked up by Ebert. A handball away to Graham. Graham from the centre of the ground drives it down towards centre half forward. Oh, great leap by Max James. Haven't cited him too much today. Clearing kick by Western Australia towards the centre of the ground. There's Keddy in the front spot. Will get the mark and free kick. Cable stands the mark as he drives it down to centre half forward. John Wynn in the front spot takes the good mark. He'd be wise to take his kick. Oh no, he's going to handball on, finds Blight. Blight runs straight into trouble, but is able to get past with speed. Boots it in towards the goals, but it's offline, out on the full. And this has been the trouble with South Australia all day.
Yes, his blazing kick, trying to kick off balance instead of being prepared to take the extra yard, take the knock and kick surely.
I think Wynn was a little foolish then too, Dennis.
Yeah, I don't think that was on that one.
No, I thought he should have kicked it. Blair kicks it up towards the half-back line. Davies meets his player solidly. Comes taken by Keddy. Keddy with a little left foot, and he's found a player. On this occasion, it's John Wynn. On this occasion, he'll have a kick, but across the face of the goals to find Graham.
It's the first time I've seen Keddy hit a player with a kick all day. He's kicked like a brown dog.
He took the words right out of my mouth, Dennis.
Kick from Graham. He would possibly be within kicking distance, would have to be one of his best. He gives it quite a ride, but it's drifting away in the forward pocket, and pushed out there was Button.
Button's put himself in this game much more since he's been on. He's got a big body and he's prepared to use it.
Up goes Davies, and from the back of the pack for South Australia was John Wynn. Ball forced across the face of the goals, and another throw-in.
Yes, they're in lots of trouble now. I can't see them getting up out of this. But again, they've always got a chance while they're within their 2 or 3 goals.
21 points of difference. Cable brings it away from the back pocket, carts it up to the half-back line with sheer pace, but Von Berto chips in from the side, went without the ball. The handball away from Cable was a good one. Trying to get it over to Watling. Oh, he took a heavy one around the head then, but he's up and okay as it's picked up by Marker. Marker's got the player running straight to him and took a good mark and a tremendous shove over the boundary line, Greenslade. Greenslade will try and convert from there. As you know, Dennis, he's a good kick in South Australian football, and the 15-metre penalty handed out here against Alexander, presumably because the tackle was a little bit late, or did he do something after that?
No, he hit him with a bump after he'd taken the mark. Didn't slow up at all. Didn't even try to miss him.
Bad kick from Greenslade's gone right across the face of the goals, nowhere near them at all, and again the throw-in on the far side. Commentator John Dethridge.
They've had a number of opportunities, South Australia, to get goals, but as yet they haven't scored one in this last quarter. Even one would put them only within 15 points of Western Australia, and as Dennis said, when you're that close to the leaders, you've got a chance. Western Australia trying to bring it off the half-back line, a chance there for Barry Cable. Gets it over towards Green. Green a handball to Blair. Blair upfield here towards Featherby. Featherby dives out into the open and then gets the kick along the boundary, but it's out on the full.
At the 15-minute mark here at the Subiaco Oval, the score is Western Australia 9-13 leading South Australia 6-10. Your commentators are Dennis Jones, John Dethridge and Max Hall from Channel 9. Have taken the ball down to their half-forward line, but there's a free kick been paid. Dennis, what's going on there?
He rode the player into the ground, and it's got to be a free kick too. I think it's Von Berto again. Or Huppets. No, Huppets.
It's Huppets. He played
couldn't
patchily.
Kick this far. Couldn't kick this far against the breeze, but a bit of movement in that South Australian forward line would help a bit.
Huppets from centre half forward. He's seen a lead or kicks into the man on the mark. And trying to take it away for Western Australia, there was Valley. Did he get legged? He did, according to umpire Della, and the free kick will come away from centre half back. I don't think there'll be any complaint about the umpiring from either side today, Dennis.
No, I wouldn't think so. He's done a real good job, I feel.
Swings it out to Hayes. Hayes from the half back line. He's been a hard player today. Kicks it up towards centre wing and finds Watling again. Watling took a hard one around the head a moment ago.
I wouldn't worry Watling.
Okay.
He's all courage and determination, this boy.
To the half-forward line, Western Australia finishing on at this stage, and the player to mark it here is Featherby. Puts it to the half-forward line again, and Cable.
Barry Cable, captain of the day, using the short kick infield here, looking for Melrose. He's under the hammer, but he gets round into the clear now. He's lining up the goals. A long shot from Graham Melrose, but he's pulled the kick, and it's another behind to Western Australia. They're 5th for the quarter.
That looked too easy for Western Australia there. They didn't seem to be put under any pressure at all. From the Watling went to somebody else, and then finally to Graham Melrose, and they just didn't seem to be in any trouble at all to play football. Now, this is bad.
And sheets of rain coming across the ground once more as Bob Hammond comes forward to drive South Australia back into play. There's the drop punt up towards the right half back flank. It goes. Blight with a chance. It comes behind. In there for Western Australia is Watling. Also Huppets for South Australia. Chance for Blight. He handballs further upfield to a teammate.
Marker.
Marker it is. Marker kicks down along the boundary. Coming in for Western Australia is Green. In there for South Australia is Von Berto. The ball eventually goes to Marker. A short kick along the ground. Trying to steer out of trouble was, who was it, Corns?
Robin.
Robin it was.
I have not seen Robin for about a quarter and 10 minutes. Very, very disappointing again. This bloke doesn't seem to do it.
Yet to live up to his reputation in games over here. Here's Marker with Huppets it was, with a long kick along the boundary. It comes to the back of the pack, but it's Western Australia's Malarkey who swoops on it. He drives the ball back towards centre half back, and in front is Graham. And this young Graham, the winger for South Australia, has done pretty well in my book. He kicks out here to a lead that has been made into fairly open space by
James.
James we haven't seen for a long time, lines up the goals, and I think he's put it through. What do you think now, Dennis? 7-10 South Australia, 9-14 Western Australia.
Well, there's time, there's hope, but I don't know. I've got my doubts. They'd have to do some quite fantastic things to get back in this game.
2 goals for the difference now, and that would make James South Australia's second leading goal kicker with 2 goals won. Terry Von Berto has kicked 3-1 for Western Australia. Major goal kickers are Trude with 2 I have for him, and Cooper. long string of singles then. Umpire Bill Della with the ball back at the centre, 9-14 to 7-10. Both sides have kicked in accurately, and major part of the reason for that would be this strong gusty breeze today. Bounce at the centre to the front spot, and it was Davies got the tap down, taken and kicked back by Keddy. Taken the handball over by John Wynn. Ooh, hard one cop there too as Peter Marker goes goalward, kicks it into the forward pocket, and South Australia have found another lease of life as Greenslade trying to take the ball there, was knocked away by the Swans right on the boundary line. It's Hayes who'll bring it away up towards the half-back line, knocked away from the waiting arms of the South Australian skipper. Ooh, Keddy took the hard one but stuck to his task well. A handball away. Malcolm Blight moving with tons of pace. He's come onto the ground fresh, looks towards centre half forward, trying to smother the ground there was Huppets, couldn't do so, and again Western Australia bringing it up to safety at centre wing here on the member stand side.
I cannot understand why South Australia did not play Blight. He's proven himself on this ground to be a very, very good player, and since he's come on the ground he's looked perfectly in place and everything right.
You weren't the only one surprised, Dennis Jones. The throw-in is knocked away here and picked up by Watling again. Watling's kick as he's caught under pressure, missed badly there by Valley and taken by Marker. Marker's kick towards the centre half-forward flank.
Oh, Greenslade has been paid, Max, and I wouldn't have paid him in 100 years on that occasion.
I wouldn't have played him either.
I said paid. Here's the kick down towards the umpire coming in now to sort out the mark, bringing Hayes back another 5 or 10 metres. And so Greenslade will...
You'll see edited highlights of this game between South Australia and Western Australia in the Channel 9 football show at 12 noon tomorrow Sunday, hosted by Ron Kitchen.
And Greenslade taking plenty of time, coming up now to the mark, and he's going to drive South Australia forward. He goes for the short one over towards Von Berto. Cable runs up in anticipation, steering out of trouble there, and getting his right foot to the ball was Huppets, driving down towards full forward. Western Australia punch it away, heading back after it was Watling, but it finds the boundary and we'll get a throw in at... or almost right half forward for Western Australia.
2-4 the difference. Western Australia lead with 3 minutes away from the time on period. Caller John Dethridge. And
Huppets it is. No, it was Von Verdo who threw the ball to his foot. Coming up for Western Australia to gather the rebound is Featherby. Featherby, the short one here to Melrose, who breaks into the clear. Or is it Bygraves? Bygraves it is, who drives up towards half forward looking for Trude, but Colby reading the play well. Jumps in front of Trude and takes a mark, and he's been one South Australian player who the team could rely on all day. He's been very strong on the half-back flank. He's coming in now, using the punt kick. Up towards the right wing it goes. In front was Greenslade. The ball comes to the front of the pack to favour Watling. Watling upfield here to Melrose. Melrose has got to gather it. He comes round on the right foot. He puts the short kick in, looking for Baynes, who makes good position. Baynes misses the mark, but recovers well. He drives deep towards full forward. Fred Senior running back under it, but it's got too much carry for him. And it's out of bounds once more at right full forward.
The sands of time are running out for South Australia now. We're in about the 23-minute mark of this quarter. There'll be a bit of time on. It'll be a 31-minute quarter. But, boy, they'd have to do something completely fantastic to get back in the game. I will admit they've worked hard this quarter, though.
I'd like to see them get a goal just to make it interesting. They're coming away from full-back now. Ebert it was. He kicks up here towards Bob Keddy. Ebert has to do the work again as the rebound comes his way, but Cable gets it, swings onto his right foot, kicks up towards Trude. And Peter Trude, the West Australian full forward, pulls it in between two South Australians and gets an excellent chance here to bring up, I think it's his third goal.
That was the typical effort of a player with pace. He could make that extra yard to get his hands to it. And this was the difference.
He's been brought around on the angle. It's not an easy kick for a left footer, but he's fairly close in. I shouldn't think he'd have a great deal of trouble. Plenty of deliberation from Peter Trude, the South Fremantle full forward, the leading goal kicker in Western Australia this season. The straightest kick of the day, right through the middle. Western Australia 10-14, South Australia 7-10.
This ability to convert down and forward has been the difference between the two slides. They've had a disinterested Greenslade on the side. They've had nobody in the forward line that's really been able to pinpoint the ball. Von Berto, for maybe 5 or 10 minutes in the third quarter, did it well. But for the rest of the time, they just weren't there. There was no forwards for South Australia. They lacked pace. James was too slow for my mind.
3 goals for the difference. Western Australia lead, and with only seconds away from the time on period, if in fact there were any doubt at that stage, that resolved it. That goal of Trude's bounce at the centre. Davies, who sprung high all day, got to the front spot but didn't get the tap, but Huppet swings it back, gives it to Blight. Blight's played particularly well since he came on, and it's a wonder that he didn't make the side. Out wide towards the half-forward flank, finds Graham. Graham's been a steady try for South Australia all day. Gets into, or kicks badly, however, in Western Australia will bring it out of defence. 9 for Western Australia's O'Dwyer, bringing it out to the half-back line, finds his teammate, kicks it high with a punt towards the centre of the ground. Through the hands it went there of Baines. Picked up, left footer, looking for the player, and he's found him too. Handball on, coming down the ground is Watling. Watling runs to within distance. He's kicked it, he's looked and found his teammate only 8 metres from the goal. He went to play on. Has he been called on? No.
Graham Melrose.
That was a beautiful bit of unselfish play by Watling. He was well within kicking distance, but he thought the other player was in the better position to do it and could have deliberate kick, so he just popped it over to him.
Max, Watling Melrose has put that one through. I was going to say Watling was an All-Australian player last year.
Yes, he couldn't make the West Perth side early in the year. His form wasn't that good, but he came back. He plays cricket too much, this bloke, and he came back and started to play well and has never missed a game since, and has got better with each week.
Western Australia, too good on the day, there's no doubt about that, but the major mystery to me is why South Australia have not changed in the pivot today, because I felt that they had 2 or 3 other players who could have gone in there, and certainly they should have changed the players around more than they did. I know it's easy to be wise after the event, but this was the thought in the South Australian camp before the game. There's the tap down, taken here by Hupperts. Hupperts from backwards to the centre, kicks to the half-forward line. Greasy ball, dropped here on this occasion by number 6 is Watling. Smothered as it came off the boot. Blight again, got a ton of run in his legs, as you can see. Kicks it high towards the half-forward flank. Coming out there is Button. Waited for the ball to bounce. Tapped it down in front of him. Graham waits on it for South Australia. Got an open field in front of him. Eventually gets a lead for James. Whacks it up to him, and he's taken it on his chest. James plays it on, handball over, gives it to Graham. Graham's in an equally acute angle, shoots it along the boundary line. It looks as though it could have even gone out on the full. It has, and Western Australia will relieve from the back pocket, leading 11-14 to South Australia's 7-10. 26-minute mark coming up as they go to the half-back line. And
Freddie Senior has pulled in the mark. West Australian ruckman. He kicks upfield to Baines, and Baines has worked very hard at centre half forward. Had an interesting duel with Russell Evett, and he's had his share of kicks. He sends a long one down towards full forward. Trude with the set, almost takes the mark. It comes off hands to Marker, who's down in South Australia's defence for some reason. The ball kicked up here now. Von Berto takes the mark at half-back. Von Berto, short one across field to Colby, who makes good position. Colby straight on with the business, steers around Watling, gets onto the right foot, drives it up towards half-forward. Up there for South Australia is Greenslade. Hot in pursuit there is Hayes. Greenslade playing the ball nicely, though. Gets it further afield and boots in towards full forward. A chance for South Australia, and it's pulled in nicely by, I think it's James again. No, it's Davies. Davies, the forward pocket, and ruckman for South Australia. He's a fair way from goal. He's kicking into the breeze, and we'll wait on this kick from Davies. Alexander standing on the mark, using the torpedo pun kick. Not a bad kick off the foot. I think it's straight enough, and it's full points to South Australia. That's their second goal in this term. They're 8-10, and Western Australia are 11-14.
Yes, that was a good kick by Davies. Took a good mark, went back and put it through. A bit belated now, though. There's not much left in this game, I'm afraid. It's about another minute and a half to 2 minutes.
And the ball being relayed back to the centre, and umpire Bill Della, who's done an excellent job today. Could hardly fault his umpiring. He's been right on the ball. He's allowed the play to flow on, and he's allowed that little bit of vigour which our Western Australian umpires haven't been doing this season to get into the game. Here's the throw down, goes the way of South Australia, kicked up onto the half-forward line by Corns, but camped under the ball with a cut lunch there was Doug Green. Green driving out towards Featherby, who gets into the clear once more, and he certainly rings around Keddy today. He made good position then as he saw Green heading off over towards that side of the ground. Slight altercation there as Keddy refuses to give the ball to Featherby, and he pays the penalty, and he earns the ironic cheers of the crowd. Bit of pointing going on there. I don't know just what is being said, and now
the umpire was very correct, in my opinion, John.
No doubt about that.
Keddy was carrying on rather stupidly.
Featherby runs down the 15 yards and now puts the ball right up towards full forward. A chance for Fitzpatrick, flies on his own. Trying to kick over his head there was Western Australia's Bygraves, but South Australia bring it away. A good kick by Von Berto out towards Featherby again. And Featherby once more takes the mark, plus a little bit of treatment from Keddy.
Bonberto would just about have to be South Australia's best player in the second half, Dennis Jones.
Yes, he played very well in the second
half. Bonberto in the second half.
I tell you what, the other point is too, there's been very few brilliant performances, but probably Featherby, you know, when you look at it overall, would be the most brilliant performance of the day.
Handball on here to Graham. Graham from the half-back line for South Australia puts them into attack to the half-forward line. Punched away there from Barry Robran. And again, the Western Australia hoodoo has persisted with the champion. He hasn't showed his best today.
I don't know. I can't see the point with Robbie. I've never seen him play well in an interstate game yet. He might be another one you've got to forget for interstate football.
No, I wouldn't agree with that, Dennis. He's played well against Victoria. He's been in our best 2 or 3. Anyway, Ebert goes over towards the boundary line, and he may get a free kick for a shove in the back. I know it's hard for you to realise over here as Western Australians how well this fellow can play, but he is a fantastic footballer, but for some reason or other does not show it in Western Australia. One of those things. Ebert's kick away from the back pocket, up towards the centre wing position. All Western Australia. Free kick away by Senior. Handball away by Senior, I should say.
Kenny getting the raspberry too on the far side there.
Keddy's earning the disfavour of the crowd at the moment. 11-14 Western Australia, South Australia 8-10 as the ball's kicked across the face of the goals and easily marked here by Valley. Not Valley, Watling.
Yeah,
Free kick call.
Was giving the other bloke a bit of a hand.
He was the other player concerned. Kicked away by Colby and marked easily here by Melrose. And there is the final siren here at the Subiaco ground in Perth, Western Australia. And it's a very, very disappointed South Australian side leaving the ground. They felt today that if they ever had the chance to win, it was today. Western Australian fans even were not happy about their chances before the game. But there, as has happened so many times over the years, the scoreboard at the finish, Western Australia 11-14, much too good on the day for South Australia's 8 goals 10, and South Australia still with only 2 wins here in Western Australia since World War II, and 1 win to every 6 losses. One of those things. South Australia 8-10, Western Australia 11-14, and from the Perth ground, or the Subiaco ground, this is Max Hall signing off on behalf of Dennis Jones, former Central Districts and now West Perth coach, and they're top of the list over here in Perth, and John Dethridge, former Claremont player with 180 games to his credit, including carnival appearance. This is Max Hall signing off here at the Subiaco ground from Channel 9.